This is the Rookie Big Board. I'm your host, Matt Higgs, the FF Educator, here with John Lobb, the Gridiron Scholar. After week one of the college football season, we have jam-packed action. We have wins. We have losses on our college fantasy football team. So whether you're off to a hot start or you need a little injection, we got you covered here with 5 waiver wire targets you should be prioritizing. John, take us into it.
Well, first, congratulations. Matt and I squared off in the Rookie Big Board League, and Matt beat me by a solid 20 points. So
we're like the top 2 scorers in the league, though.
Yeah, it was a good week. A lot of high-scoring games in my 17 years. It was astronomical. But we're here each week to give you a quick look at the waiver wire. This is not an in-depth show. This is just a quick bang, bang, bang. And you can always join us on the Rookie Big Board. Become a patron. Sign up for a Discord, or you can see our waiver wire column in the fan track. So, but this is a quick synopsis to get your juices flowing for this week's waiver wire.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Let's get it started here with wide receiver Nick Nash of the San Jose State Spartans, a big performer in week one. You might not be paying attention to the Spartans, but we absolutely are. What do you like about him, John?
Hey, first, he's only owned in 29% of leagues. San Jose plays in the Mountain West Conference. We love the Mountain West. There's going to be a lot of high-scoring games out there. Last week, when you have 10 receptions for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, Matt, you absolutely piqued my interest. He's coming off of a season in which he was second team All Mountain West last year, and he was the number 3 wide receiver, and he ended up scoring 46.3 points. He was simply incredible. It just, we had too many receivers who were off the charts great, or he might have been number 1. But if you need a wide receiver, put Nick Nash at the top of your queue this week.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're looking at these G5 teams, right, one of the reasons that he went undrafted in 71% of leagues is sometimes it's just hard to understand the depth charts, right? So Don't overthink it, folks. Listen to what they're telling you. He should be rostered in 99% of leagues after this week. So this is the time to lay down the cash and add him to your roster here. We're going to transition, stay at the wide receiver position, though, go with one of my guys, Harrison Wallace, the third for Penn State. It feels like we're back with Penn State, right? Last year, we were lacking that X wide receiver, and this offense looks, it's a full renaissance happening in Happy Valley here. It's just 1 week, of course. We don't want to put the cart before the horse, but for me, it was clear that Harrison Wallace III is the guy in the offense. 5 receptions on 9 targets, 177 yards, and 2 big touchdowns. Those 5 receptions, John, they equaled all other wide receivers and tight ends combined in receptions, right? So what is that telling me? They're making it an emphasis, a priority to get Wallace involved. And here's what I'm always looking at, right? If I'm going to put down big money early on a top priority type guy, I'm going to be looking for that schedule. The next 4 up for Harrison Wallace: Bowling Green, Kent, UCLA, which had a hard time against Hawaii week 1, and then USC, which is not known for their defense, right? And there's a couple bye weeks worked into there. But overall, that's a really juicy schedule for somebody rostered in just 8% of leagues. And John, I didn't mention it off the top, but that's a big part of what we're doing here. You can miss us on the waiver wire shows going over guys, rostered in 50, 60% of leagues. We're digging deep for you, and we're giving you those guys that aren't just going to be necessarily sitting at the top of the Fantrax queue for you. And with that being said, John, let's go ahead. Let's get into the quarterback position. You got a good one lined up for us here. Brendan Sorsby now with the Bearcats this season.
Yeah, I bet you every week there's always going to be a couple teams in need of a quarterback. We will try to include one on here every week. There's injuries, bye weeks are going to be coming up, and then there's just players who get benched. I was very impressed with Brendan Sorsby yesterday. Hey, he's a transfer from Indiana. And he showed us last year that he could play at times. Now, if you didn't watch Indiana last year, they weren't very good. So it was tough to really get a measure of how good Sorsby was. He goes to Cincinnati. He's only on 25% of leagues. So that means 75% of leagues out there have an opportunity to get him. Matt, he scored 43.6 fantasy points. That's just unbelievable. And he is a dual threat guy. He had 383 yards rushing, 4 total touchdowns. And you mentioned the schedule. I looked it up with Sorsby and the Bearcats. Pittsburgh, which they kind of gave up a lot of points to, a team that isn't super strong. Miami of Ohio, I think they just got waxed by Pittsburgh, right? And then you have Houston, who I believe they lost to UNLV,
They
right?
sure did. They sure did.
That is a really juicy upcoming schedule. If you need a quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, you should pick him up, folks.
And you should head on over to patreon.com/rookiebigboard if you want to get ahead of your league mates, especially if you're playing college fantasy football and Devy. If you are a Rookie Big Board patron, you had access to an exclusive article last week from John that told you to pick up Rudolph, right, from Northern Illinois, to pick up Josh Hoover from TCU, to pick up Gio Lopez from South Alabama. All three of those dudes hit big last week. You also had access to the exclusive Devy guide preview for week 1 on top of Devy rankings, dynasty rankings, 2025 rookie rankings, all of that and more, including personalized advice in the Rookie Big Board Discord, available for just $5 a month. You got to make sure to head on over and check out everything we have available for our Rookie Big Board patrons. And we got another good one here in wide receiver Isaiah Neyor out of Nebraska. Now, was UTEP the hardest opponent for the Cornhuskers week 1? No, not necessarily, but there's a lot of excitement from the Dylan Raiola era that's now underway. And what's really exciting for me, John, is seeing Neyor being the top guy. Remember, he's had a bit of a journey. This is somebody who we loved at Wyoming 2 years ago. He transfers to Texas with a lot of expectation, suffers a preseason injury, never gets through. Now he's at Nebraska. He leads the way for the Cornhuskers. 8 targets, 6 receptions, 121 yards and a touchdown. I love the fact that Neyor both led Nebraska in targets, but also had a 59-yard touchdown. What does that say to me, John? That's floor and ceiling, right? Targets plus explosive playability. And that's early chemistry with a young quarterback. He's going to cling on to that, right, once he finds his guy. How about this upcoming schedule for Neyor? Colorado, who barely eked out a win against FCS South Dakota, Northern Iowa, FCS Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers. Nebraska has a good chance to be off to a 5-0, 6-0 start here. And Isaiah Neyor, I think, could be a big piece of that. Owned in just 11% of leagues. I'm not hearing his name really being discussed. I think it's getting lost in the Discord of some more popular players. So I don't even know that you need to put down a large chunk of cash on your waiver wires to get Isaiah Neyor out of Nebraska. And we saved a running back for last, John. We didn't forget about Anthony Tyus out of Ohio.
Matt, whenever you have 200 yards rushing, you have my attention as a college fantasy football fan. He was the number 8 most productive CFF quarterback last year. So this morning when I woke up, I said, all right, I don't know Anthony Tyus enough. Let me go look him up. He is from Northwestern. I saw some highlights. I did like the way he ran. Now, I also like they competed against Syracuse, so he is moving up. They're a G5 program playing a P4 program on the road. He was impressive, but he's 6'1", 226 pounds, Matt. He is a big boy who was supposed to compete in the Big Ten. It didn't work out for him with the Wildcats. He gets an opportunity with Miami of Ohio here. And you had mentioned their schedule. I took a quick look at it. In the next South Alabama this week, I think it's Morneau or Moorhead. I don't even know who MOR is. My guess is it's an FCS program. Then they have one speed bump, Kentucky. After that, Matt, it's MAC competition. Akron, Central Michigan, Miami of Ohio, Buffalo. It is nice, smooth sailing. My only concern is I had read that the coach might go out with the hot hand, but I think, Tyus, you get 200 yards, Matt. A coach's going to believe that you have a hot hand. Go get him.
John, I used to live in Baltimore, so I have to give a shout out to Morgan State.
Oh, Morgan State.
That's who Ohio will be playing. So Morgan State out of Baltimore. Got to make sure we get that right. Just like we want to make sure you get your fantasy football lineups right. Hey, if you listen to the end of the video, give us a like and drop us a comment. Give us a start sit question. Ask us about your roster after week 1. Let us know how we can help you out. And be sure to join us over at patreon.com/rookiebigboard. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Rookie Big Board.